Arsenal 2-0. And of course, we're looking at bringing more live transmission to you, the team supporters of New Starter Sports. Don't forget, our website is up and running now. In case you want to watch, you want to follow your live scores, you want to check out the latest news, you can check us out at www.newsintersports.news. And of course, I have the game with me today. I have Oroku Kachi with me. I have Small Oracle Sheyi with me, and I have Little Oracle Olawale with me as well. Kachi, I'm going to allow you start the introduction.
Sports fans, always a pleasure. It's been 3 weeks of not talking to you, and we clearly missed that and the interactions. Big congratulations to the Nigerian female basketball team, the Tigress, for winning the Afro Basketball Championship and quadrupeting. Also, big congrats to their coach, Mrs. Udoka, becoming the first female head coach of the nation to win the Afro Basket tournament in the history of that tourney. Interesting things happening in the female side of the FIFA World Cup. 4 out of the 10 top-ranked teams are out of the tournament. Impressive things by Morocco as well. What the men can do, the women can at least match in terms of the excitement they are bringing, becoming the first Arab nation ever to make the knockout stage of the female FIFA World Cup. We will dissect all this. I'm not saying anything about Arsenal or Manchester United. I'll leave that to Sheyi and Olawale. Stay tuned for a great one.
All right, perfect. Sheyi, go ahead and introduce yourself as well.
Hello, sport fans. Feels good to be back talking sports on the show, and I'm very sure you're going to have a fantastic time with us. What a fantastic weekend anyway for Arsenal fans. It's like they are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel gradually. Talking about winning the Charity Shield over the weekend, and also like Kachi said, it seems we are looking at a shift in power in the women football world, and we are here for it. We are going to discuss part of it on this show. Hopefully, we see a new winner of the Women World Cup. That's actually what I'm looking out for. Welcome, everyone.
That would be nice, as a matter of fact. But before we jump into the female world of football and whatnot, so we'll start with the NBA. Kachi, your boy, which actually thanks to Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis post on our Instagram page has actually generated over 400,000 views. That is the single largest views on our Instagram page right now. Thanks to Anthony Davis. And he signed a $186 million contract extension for 3 years. Mm-hmm. And basically everybody thinks Lakers have given him everything since they traded him from New Orleans, the Pelicans. And some of the opinion that he has actually paid back his due. Some of the opinion he hasn't paid back his due. What are the expectations on AD going forward, at least for the next 3 years? Because right now we don't expect LBJ to be the best player on the team again. It's cheap now. He has to be the captain and anchor it safely as well.
Without a doubt. What that deal tells me right now is that Lakers team belongs entirely now to Anthony Davis. Wherever the Lakers would go would depend fully on where and how far Anthony Davis takes them. He just signed the richest annual contract extension in NBA history, period, averaging about $65 million a year. This is for someone who, in spite of his injury history, got Ginny Boss and the Lakers organization to pitch their tent with him. Now, we don't know what they have seen in the offseason to advise the Lakers management to go to that length. But I guess when you look at what Jaylen Brown also signed you are not necessarily surprised because I will still take Anthony Davis over Jalen
Over
Brown.
Jalen Brown.
And if Jalen Brown is getting that kind of bag, then maybe Anthony Davis deserves that. But in terms of expectation, I personally don't think Davis has done enough um,
In the golden shot.
to warrant this, right?
Oh,
He has not done enough to have jersey his jersey hung in the rafters at the Staples Center, where at the crypto.com center, as it is popularly called, or more recently called now. What I expect is that in the next 3 years, Davis, at the very least, takes the Lakers to another NBA Finals.
at the very least.
At the very least. But what would make him sit in the same table as the all-time greats?
Great.
Because
Yeah.
one thing we know the Lakers for is that they have always signed some of the best centers or some of the best big men in the world, from Elgin Baylor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaq, even Paul Gasol. Even Paul Gasol got 2 championships playing as a Laker. That is what warranted his jersey being hung in the rafters right
Yeah.
now. At the very least, I expect that Davis takes them to another final. But what would cement his legacy with the Lakers, especially in paying back 100-fold what they've invested in him, is bringing another championship to the purple and gold. But what can never be in doubt right now, whether it pans out as we expect it to, or it becomes a woeful failure, is that this team is now the Anthony Davis team. And I want to see how far he can take it.
All right, perfect. Oh, Ali, I don't know if you are with us. If you're with us, let me know. What's your opinion about this? Do you think it's an Anthony Davis show right now, and he should be anchoring the team, the ship of the purple and gold? I believe Ali is not with us right now. So we'll move on. The expectations placed at the feet of Anthony Davis. And I agree with you 100%, Marco Kachi. I feel he needs to show more in terms of leadership. He needs to be a role model, and take the match. Anyways, realistically speaking, AD is the best player at LA Lakers.
Right now, yes.
Right now, no doubt about it. He's the best player at the Lakers. When AD is not around, there's always that vacuum that cannot be filled by the supporting cast. So I feel he should take the mantle more, take the leadership role, and receive the guidance as he is doing right now from LBJ before he finally retires. Shay, I'm gonna come to you next. Aerospace, Terence Crawford, you can't come out with that, lose yourself in this music the moment come out with that and lose a boxing bout. With what Eminem did, that it was game over even before the game started. Because he's 100% is going to be pumped up and whatnot. So what's the next line, or what should we expect from Aerospace right now in regards to this bout? Is it going to be a rematch? Is it going to be one that they have to drop maybe their weight class to be on the same pedestal to be able to fight a rematch, or everybody should have to go their different ways and see what happens next?
Yeah, thank you very much, Debo. I think Aerospace probably was just a little bit unlucky on the night.
Really?
I'm sure Kachi will disagree with me. But I think Debo, calm down. I think it was quite unlucky. I think it went in with only one plan. That's from my analysis from that bout. I think he went with only one plan. He wanted to force his style on Terence Crawford, and as at the second round, that he noticed that this might not work. I think his coach should have, tried to let him go into the plan B. Which I think they did not have on the night. So throughout the night, he tried to force his style and ended up being counter punched all through the night. And I think that's something he needs to go back, look at the bout from A to Z and maybe make some changes, not even some, I think wholesale changes for his
Changes.
next battle. For me, I think he needs to trigger the rematch clause. There's a rematch clause in the
Oh, nice.
agreement. So I think
Nice.
that's the next thing for him. We're talking about undisputed bout here. You can't lose the first one and sit back. I
Sit
don't
back,
think
yeah.
champions behave like that. He needs to get back into the ring with Crawford. If he loses the second one, then everybody knows that, yeah, I think this guy is better than you. Errol Spence is a great champion. We have to give that to him.
Yeah.
He he threw out everything out there on the night, but I think he went there with a flawed tactics.
approach.
Every
His
time he
best wasn't
wanted,
just good enough.
yeah, yeah, every time he wanted to force it, I think Crawford was just too smart for him. When you are close to Terence Crawford, you are as in you
They're
are
very
in a
variable.
danger mode. But what Crawford did on the night was he kept on holding the right and of Terence of Aaron
Of
Spence.
Spurs.
That is what I noticed on the night, which means it limited him from being active when close to him. That was a key on the night. Like I
Okay.
said, needs to go back, relook, change everything, wholesale changes in terms of tactics, get back into that ring and give us a better fight.
A better fight. Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Kachi, I'm going to come to you. Ngannou, actually his coach right now is Iron Mike Tyson.
Mhm.
And when they asked Tyson was like, oh, if he was to fight Iron Mike Tyson, Tyson will knock him off in the first round. I know that's just a little bit of blabbing or whatnot.
Homage
Yeah,
to Tyson. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So for what do you call it, for Tyson Fury, these bouts, and I know you want to play the devil advocate in this one. I feel is a mismatch for me personally. But I feel Tyson Fury, the only chance that Francis will have in this kind of two chances. See that he brings Juju from Africa, from Cameroon. Um, and the second one would be if they allow MMA rules, which definitely will kill Tyson Fury.
Mhm.
But those two does not work in the real world. Unfortunately, in this particular context, it would not work in the real world. So,
Mhm.
what do you? What are the expectations? And like you educated me, you said Francis has a boxing history,
Mhm.
so and you related it to what Wilder did to Tyson Fury
Mhm.
in both in the
In the
three
first,
bouts.
let's
In the
see.
three bouts, as a matter of fact,
Okay.
three bouts as a
Okay.
matter of fact.
Okay.
Wilder lost, but it was a good opponent. It was a formidable opponent to Tyson
Yeah.
Fury. For
Okay.
anybody that cares to listen. So, what are the expectations for this one?
Okay. First things first, let's get this out of the way. Tyson Fury will win this fight.
Okay.
Let me make that clear, just in case and somebody is depending on Oracle Kachi before they bet their house and their pension on that fight. Kachi is not saying there will be an upset. However, what I'm saying, if there will be any chance for an upset to occur, that chance was heavily boosted by Ngannou having Tyson in his camp. And the reason I say so is this: beyond Tyson, beyond being a knockout specialist, had this key attribute of ending fights very early,
Ali.
which is you don't have the stamina to last 12 rounds with a Fury who makes a living and is by far the smoothest heavyweight fighter I have seen since Muhammad Ali and the British guy who, for some reason, since
Yeah.
Lennox Lewis. Now, Tyson probably, Ngannou probably would need to have a strategy of going gung ho, making sure, and it's not something we easily say that Fury has, which is the jab, but he has to make sure that Fury cannot fully extend his long reach. That means he has to keep him really close. So
Close.
even if the jab is coming, they are not long reach jabs, but just short end jabs. The reason I said there may be a chance is
For an upset.
because Tyson Fury has shown to be vulnerable. when he meets a heavy hitter. I'm not talking of all these pension fights. I can't remember who Fury last fought. I'm not talking of those caliber of fighters. I'm talking of real deal heavy hitters. As one dimensional as Deontay Wilder was,
Yeah.
Wilder still had chances to throw some real bad haymakers that in the first fight took Fury down twice. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest talking points of the first fight was how Fury got up from the last punch he ate up in the ninth or 10th round, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So that means there is a slight chink in the armor Tyson Fury possesses. And Sheyi is here. He can attest to the fact that one strength Ngannou has in MMA is beyond his wrestling abilities, is his punching abilities. So if he manages to, within the first two rounds, find a soft spot and hit Tyson Fury, I'm only saying that if you bet $100, you might be going home with $10,000 when that happens. But
Okay.
But coming back to all this, I
Yeah.
don't see it happening, but it will make Ngannou a more formidable fighter because let's not forget that Cosdomato is probably one of the best minds. This is who Tyson learned from. Tyson still remains fit. We saw his exhibition fight. He looked
Yeah.
like he never left the ring.
Uh-huh.
If
Uh-huh.
Francis Ngannou takes even 50% of whatever lesson
Learn.
Tyson will give him, we might see a more interesting fight than Jake Paul versus Mike Baba here in Montreal.
Oh, come on. Stop talking about that.
No, I
that's
had
some
to let you know that Jake Paul those are not the kind of fights. We should not expect it to be like Jake Paul. A Nate Diaz went the whole length against Jake Paul, who plans to be a champion, by the way, by 2026.
Wow, that would be one interesting BS. Honestly, I think it's a joke that has gone too far. If you ask me, Tommy Fury, Jake Paul, what's his brother name? I forgot the name of
Jake and Nate Paul.
and Nate. Yeah, both of them. I think it's a joke that has gone too far that needs to be stopped one way or the other. Shay White has come out to say he's shocked that he's using drug. I don't know how anybody will be shocked at using drug, but he's shocked as a matter. He's shocked like Muhammadu Buhari. Buhari is always shocked at everything in this world. Same way that is shocked right now. So the August 4th fight is not going to be happening. As a matter of fact, a disappointment on the part of Anthony Joshua because I know Anthony is trying to get back to the pedestrian and climb back as soon as possible. With this being gone, are we gonna have like a fight still with another opponent, or with this fight being called off, he will have to look for another opponent, and the date of that will have to be pushed further down, eclipsing his shots or his intensity or his whatever. I don't know what English to use right now. The way he wants to come back as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to push it back?
Yeah, I think, well, it's unfortunate that that happened. Dylan White being surprised, I don't know.
He said, I'm shocked
That,
and devastated.
yeah, probably. But the point is, it was an impromptu test that was called by the by the yeah VADA. Yeah, and obviously, you know, when they call for such impromptu a test like that, anything can happen. We're
Yeah.
talking of these guys still live their normal life as, you know, who they are behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not too surprised. And this similar thing happened to Anthony Joshua when he lost his belt to Andy Ruiz. If you recall, actually,
Yes.
it was in line to fight Jared Miller, Big Baby, and you know, well built up fight. And the guy tested. I think he also tested positive
Positive, yes.
for
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 Banned
a
bans and
particular
substance.
banned substance, and they had to organize someone for Joshua to fight, which was Andy Ruiz. He had, I mean, maybe like 1 month to prepare for the
Mm-hmm.
Andy Ruiz fight.
Bout
Eventually lost, and you can put that down to him not actually preparing enough, not understanding his opponents,
the
and that
opponents.
happened to him. This time around, I don't think he's going to do that. So I don't think he's going to rush into
To another part.
any fight right now. The good thing for him is that he was active as at April this year. So
Uh-huh.
there is no pressure of being entering the
Being
ring to be active.
uh-huh.
You understand? And right now he's not a champion, so champions need to stay active to defend
Mm-hmm.
their
The
belts.
titles.
So the best thing for him is just to calm down and look for the
The next victim.
next sensible victim, like you said, to fight. However, you know they are actually priming Joshua up for a wilder meetup.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at
Hmm.
probably if Usyk and Tyson Fury will eventually get their act together and go for
Yeah.
the undisputed, and they can actually bring in Wilder and Joshua as a double header. In Saudi
That
Arabia,
part. On
everybody
the
makes good
undercard,
money
yes. Yeah.
on the card. Yeah, everybody makes good money. But right now, this uh, white issue will probably bring up
Show
issues.
that yeah. Show it of a
Exactly. But
balance.
let's just sit down and see what happens. The best thing for Anthony Joshua is not to rush into anything. He's picking up right now. You don't want to derail it. So he
Mm-hmm.
has time to sit down and get the proper opponent to fight.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that. Kachi, I'm gonna come up to you right now. The women's World Cup. The Jamaican ladies, the reggae ladies did not even they had to go for a GoFundMe
Mm-hmm.
to come to this tournament. They are doing pretty well. Same with the Nigerian ladies as well. The Canadians that have gone home, unfortunately, our own association was bankrupt. They declared themselves bankrupt or they threatened to declare themselves bankrupt at a particular point in time. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen the Americans going home today against Sweden. I don't know why everybody is on the neck of Rafinha. Correct me if
Megan Rapinoe, yeah.
everybody's on her. She lost the penalty, but as of the time that she lost the penalty, the US were still leading. So they were just looking for victim
The
to
scapegoat, yeah.
yeah, scapegoat
Mm-hmm.
for their poor showing at the outing. She did not even start the game. She came in as a substitute. Matter to leaving the world stage with Brazil on a bad note as well. We know she was the best player in the whole wide world for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So far, so good. We've seen so many giants fall. So many giants have fell so
Mm-hmm.
far in this tournament. And do you think there's a ringing alarm bell that we could have a champion from one of the countries that's never won the World Cup, the female World Cup since 1991?
Do I think so? Yes. Do I hope so? Yes. Um, what this World Cup has shown me is that it may have taken quite a while, but we are beginning to see these gaps close. Now, I'm not saying these people have all of a sudden become equals, because I don't expect Jamaica to probably replicate this the same way I did not expect South Africa to take care of or to defeat the Netherlands,
Yeah,
except they came to play a totally negative style of football, which would have been anathema to their DNA.
yeah,
But what this tells me is that there are no longer minnows in female soccer. Um, 4 out of the top 10 ranked team are out of the World Cup right now. Um, it's surprising. Number one, USA. Number two, Germany. Number seven, Canada. Number eight, uh, uh, Brazil are
Brazil.
already out. We've also seen 40th ranked team, the Super Falcons, defeat, I believe, the sixth
The
ranked team, Australia,
Australia.
as well. Um, we've seen Jamaica playing out of their skin. We've seen right now,
Colombia.
I believe Colombia, I can't remember her name, probably scored the goal of the tournament so
Saucido.
far right now. We saw how they took care of that group where everybody expected Germany to win. They
Uh-huh.
topped that group. We saw Morocco, uh, even though they lost their first game 6-0, come back to
Coming back,
finish the
yeah.
group with 6 points. We saw South Korea, who had nothing to play for, holding the mighty German national team to a 1-1 draw. I don't think
Even Zambia.
they never scored a goal before that match against Germany. So what this tells me is that the investment in grassroots soccer in these other minnows or the smaller countries,
Countries
we are beginning to see the
see the
result.
dividends.
And I'm totally here for it. I've always been a proponent of female soccer. Um, Not because I have a sister who plays the sport and I want to make sure that there's enough in the sports so that if he chooses to make a career out of it, we can probably get our pension from that. That is not the
Yeah.
case for me.
Are you sure?
And I only have one sister and she's not into sports at all. So, but seeing these people enjoy the benefit of their hard work, seeing this is probably the first time there's this number of interest
Yeah.
in the female game. And the quality of football. I played the pickup soccer over the weekend with my friends. Shout out to the boys in Vaudreuil Dorion in Montreal. And after 40 minutes, we all looked at each other and we agreed that what the women are doing is not easy. So, them getting the recognition, them getting the exposure
Yeah.
bodes well for the sport.
Hmm.
Now, I still think that we would have, I'm not sure. I know Japan has lost in the final to the United States. I don't think they've won it before. I still think the biggest winners of these four teams that are out are
Uh-huh.
teams like England, teams like Netherlands, Spain, and Japan. I definitely think the winner of this World Cup comes from these four teams I have
14th.
mentioned, except Nigeria springs a surprise very early tomorrow morning. But yes, we need a new winner. We don't really want it to be the case of the men's World Cup, where I believe only 13 or 15 nations have won the World Cup in the men's
Okay.
side
Okay.
since 1930.
Japan won it in 2011.
Okay, so Japan, there will be a repeat winner if they win it. So it means that the likes, so if I take off Japan, it means that the likes of Spain,
Spain. Yeah.
Netherlands, and
Yeah.
England stand a chance to finally get their hands on
On
this
the
trophy.
trophy.
And I still think Japan should be put in the mix. The winner will come from one of these four teams.
All right. Perfect. Shay, Nigerians, patriotic Nigerians. Thank God I don't live in Montreal. So I'm on holiday tomorrow. I can wake up as early as I want and sleep whenever I want. So, what are the hopes for Nigeria tomorrow, Shay? Quickly.
I think it's going to be quite very hard for them. The English players are much better than them. They are much more tactical. They like to hold possession also. However, I think the tactics for the Falcons of tomorrow should definitely be defend as much as you can. When
Yeah.
you get the break, make sure you get something out of it.
Out
Because
of
I
it.
know the English girls are going to hold possession quite well. But if you also look at the Falcons, they seem
Uh-huh.
to have they seem to have actually fared well defending. They've conceded 2 goals,
Just two
and
goals.
they
Yeah.
considered those goals in just one match. They've
Mm.
had 0-0 twice. So I
Yeah.
think the defense should be able to at least, come
The
up
Marshall well.
top
Yeah.
on the day. And I want to, I think Ajibade will be key for
Yeah.
that game tomorrow
Mhm.
with our pace and our decisiveness. And hopefully, the Barcelona lady also come out,
Come out
to
from
yeah,
the
in this
shadow of herself.
competition we've not really seen much of
Yeah,
Oshola.
yeah,
So
exactly. She had
I
not
I
really
think
busted
this is
out.
the this yeah, I think this is the match for her to really show her stuff, and
Mhm.
maybe we could just sneak 1 or 2 goals and see if we can curtail the English
Curtail the
girl.
English girls. According
Otherwise,
to,
I'm just being patriotic, to be
yeah,
sincere.
you're being optimistic. All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that. Orakukachi. I said Orakukachi, Sheyi. And of course, we'll move to the community shield that happened today between Arsenal and Manchester City. Manchester City, they've been bossing at us everybody around in the English Premier League. Pep Guardiola has shown he's the best in the history of football, as far as I'm concerned. It's your argument if you don't agree with me, but that's what I think. And we saw the master against the student again
Understudy.
today. Yeah, again we see that again today. They've only been able to beat Manchester City once, and Arsenal are looking at winning. I believe the second or third community shield um
Data.
under Ateta and the 17th in their history, and they actually did it thanks to the new laws that allow extra minutes for injury, for argument, and whatnot. That wicked deflection of Manuel Akanji. But looking at the talking points for this game, and I'm going to go over basically four talking points, two for each of you. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start with Yoro Kukachi. The lack of striker for Arsenal. It's a concern. As an Arsenal fan, I will be concerned. Basically, I don't think Hilbert Jesus is a well established striker. He plays as if he's not a striker.
Mm,
That's the way he plays. And you look around him. Eddie Nketiah is not at that level. He's a good
mhm,
player, no doubt about it, but he's not at that level. Kai Havertz, we know how he messed up Chelsea. Chelsea trying to play him as the big number
False
nine.
nine.
Yeah, first nine. Trossard is the only person that I could see. Martinelli could play the role as well. But without a conventional striker that can guarantee you 20 goals, you can't win the league.
Right.
At a point, it's not sustainable. Bukayo Saka looks tired from last season. You don't expect all those kind of things without a regular striker that can actually give you those number of games. And Uzusi is actually out right now.
Mhm.
Do you think this will pose a big problem for Arsenal going into the season?
Um, yes, in the long term, no, in the short term. Um, I think they have quite enough in terms of depth to navigate the early part of the season. Um, Arsenal's plan under Arteta has been that uh, they are greater than the sum of their parts, pretty much. They want the goals to come from everywhere. Yes, you need the likes of an Erling Haaland who can guarantee you goals, at least converting at a 35 to 40% rate. However, I think Arsenal has shown, let's not forget that they were also without Gabriel Jesus for about 3 months last year. A lot
Uh-huh.
of people can argue that that was what cost them the league because his goals would have made the difference. But without his goals, they were also able to maintain a certain level of
Yeah,
distance until their late season
that
collapse.
collapse.
My point being that depth and the fluidity of their style of play. And let's not forget that there's a sense of belief that winning a trophy, whether it's a trophy, it's always a trophy when you win it, and it's
Uh-huh.
never serious when you lose the Community Shield. But
Yeah.
many of these guys, the Ramsdale of this world, have never tasted that kind of victory, Trossard and the likes. So having a medal across their neck probably also helps boost their confidence. So I think in the short term, to allow Gabriel Jesus fully recuperate, they have enough in their depth to navigate the first
Navigate.
the first 10 games of the season. But whether they have the solidity and the depth to compete against City, and let's not forget that Liverpool is also coming up and looking to regain their lost
The
glory
momentum. Yeah.
after whatever happened last season. Whether Arsenal has enough to last 38 games, I don't think so without Gabriel Jesus. But you also need to agree that you don't have so much in the market. The people who are available, who are world class, don't want to come to Arsenal. Mbappe is not coming to Arsenal. Harry Kane is not coming to Arsenal. So they have to make do with what they
What
have.
they have.
Do you understand? However, if they finish third and win another trophy in the cup, either the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup,
FA Cup.
I think this will be a good season. But do they have enough to compete without Jesus? for 38 games? Absolutely not. I don't think so.
All right, perfect. And of course, another one that we've been clamoring here, it's gonna be Erling Haaland missing again. He's always missing in games. I understand that he's a glorious striker. He's probably the best striker right now. Bar Victor Osimhen in the
Mhm,
world, in my humble opinion, or my biased opinion because I'm a Nigerian.
mhm,
Either way you want to see it, whatever side of the fence you sit on. But
mhm,
he goes missing in these kind of games, come up with the goals at the end of the day. But
mhm.
when he does not come up with goals, you see the deficiency in his game.
In this play, yeah.
Yeah, in his play, like in
Uh,
his inability to play along with fellow players, inability to dictate dictate the pace of the game within the
mhm,
box
mhm,
18 arena,
mhm.
and we see it. Should we accept him for who he is and just say,
Yeah,
"Oh, this is another Filippo Inzaghi.
absolutely.
We don't expect so much from him, but it's going to deliver us those goals." So
You just
our expectation will be pretty low.
you took the comparison out of my mouth. I'm not sure where I was, whether it was our own social media group or another group chat. I said Erling Haaland. Before Erling Haaland, there was a Filippo Inzaghi and Ruud van Nistelrooy. These people were not involved in the build-up play. They were just clear-cut finishers. For me, the difference between all of them now is that Inzaghi and Nistelrooy could make the runs that Haaland can't make now. You don't necessarily always see Haaland beating a trap set for him by the back line. Is usually a cutback tapping, a cross that he heads in. So he's still missing that instinctive
That is it.
striker play,
Mhm.
which is timing their run with the last defender of the opposing team. Now, everybody, even Superman, has his kryptonite. So we definitely don't expect Erling Haaland to be the perfect player. Um, if you're going to get goals, you might be lacking in your defensive duties. And right now, he's lacking in intelligent link-up play. That is made up for by the brilliance of KDB, Phil Foden,
Mhm.
Bernardo Silva. I think, and the whole world should learn to accept him for who he
For
is.
what
Who
he
he
is.
is. He's a streaky goal scorer who gets more than one goals playing against supposedly lesser opponents and gets lost sometimes in the big games when he plays against teams with equally tactical defenders.
Tactical
I think
defenders.
that's just the difference between him right now as a young boy and Nistelrooy and Inzaghi, because those two get you the goals in the games that matter. And in Haaland will still get there. We seem to forget that he's a young 21, I think 21 year
23.
old, 23
23.
year old.
Yeah.
He still has probably 6 years to develop into the clinical striker we want him to be. Let's see what happens when he's 25 if we're still talking about this same deficiency. But if he's molding himself in the modes of Inzaghi and Ruud van
Vanishing,
Nistelrooy,
sorry.
then he has to do a lot of work with his link-up play and his runs behind the defense. But I
Defense.
think that's the best comparison you can give him,
All
Nistelrooy
right.
and Inzaghi.
And it's like, all right, perfect. Actually, I'm going to come to you. Mares has gone to Saudi Arabia right now. Kyle Walker probably to Bayern Munich, according to report. Bernardo Silva wants to leave. Whether this guy Pep Guardiola will allow him leave is another question. I go again has gone to Barcelona already. We see all these guys leaving, and I know Pep Guardiola is a genius. And like I always tell everybody that gets to listen, players within Guardiola's system might not be the best players when they leave. It's more about the system
Mhm.
more than the brilliance of the players themselves. And I'm looking at KDB and I'm not including KDB. You know, do you think if these four guys, the two already have left, if the other two leaves, do you think it would potentially put Man City out of contention for the Premier League?
Okay. Uh, let me just answer straight. It is a straightforward question. It's nobody can actually remove Man City from the title race. Even if they lose half of their team, we are talking about Pep here. Okay, so
Yeah,
but obviously, the quality of the team will definitely
a
reduce.
drop. Yeah.
If we are talking about last season, obviously they will not be able to overturn the deficit. They won't be able to, chase Arsenal and
Yeah.
overtake Arsenal. So that is the only thing I'm looking at the moment. And the only way it's going to affect a Pep Guardiola team is when you lose too many key players in your team.
Mhm.
And we're talking about the season has already started. We're not saying that these guys already left before the preseason. He got
Uh-huh.
in the guys, he worked with them during the preseason. They already understand is what he wants to play. We know is Guardiola is always changing, right?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So they
Yeah, yeah.
understand what he wants them to play, and they've started playing it because obviously before you can perfect
System
any game, any system, any game, system, you have to fail to achieve what you want to
to
achieve.
achieve exactly
And they've seen
100%.
Mhm.
that over year in, year out. So for me, if it loses four key players, he has lost two right now.
Mhm.
I can say Mares, we still have players that can play from that end. Bernardo Silva can play from that right wing.
Phil Foden
And
as well.
yeah, Phil Foden can also do same. And it can also switch up, the front four in a particular way that it does not play from that head. Playing
Uh-huh.
Alvarez and Alan together can actually, normalize that kind of system.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what I'm saying now is Guardiola is trying to, to understand that okay, I need to
I
change
need
my
to make this
system.
work. Yeah.
Exactly. This is post Mares and post whoever and Godoga.
Got it,
So
got it.
he's trying to change the system. Now, I will not be surprised if we see more of Alvarez and Alan together in the same team this particular season.
Season.
So for me, I think it's just going to change the system, and it will take them some time to get used to that system. Now, it now depends on the other team what you,
You
you
can
know,
achieve.
Arsenal,
Yeah.
Arsenal actually just handed over the league to Man City last season.
Yeah.
Last season,
If
yeah,
it was
100%.
if it was Arsenal with quality depth, it will never happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that will now depend on what will happen this season. Before Guardiola's team,
Jail.
get to that mode, what
Yeah.
will Man U
All the
do? What
Manchester
will Arsenal
United,
do? And what will
Liverpool.
Liverpool do? Chelsea will be out of that mix for now because they have too many new players and a new coach.
Mhm.
So I think I'll just pick the remaining three. The key issue for Liverpool is midfield. I think they're fixing that right now. Let's see how
Uh-huh.
it goes. But as
Uh-huh.
far as I'm concerned, a lot of the teams will be in the mix for the league this season.
For the league
However,
season.
however, however, Pep is still Pep.
Pep
Yeah.
is still Pep. Pep is still the greatest coach.
Can I
All
just say
right.
I'm surprised
Yeah.
that Sheyi did not put his darling Manchester United in the mix.
I
He
mentioned
did. He
I
did. He said
mentioned
Manchester
Manchester
United.
United
Manchester
first.
United, Liverpool, and Arsenal.
Okay.
But I actually feel Manchester United will be definitely in the mix. And I was telling someone today, I said, see, if Casemiro did not have those
That
silly
injury. Mhm.
red cards that he had and those silly suspensions, we probably will have them push Arsenal and Man City to the brink. They would have won the league, definitely, but they would have pushed them to the brink. And ETH is cooking something that will be done pretty soon at Old Trafford. Trust me. Shay, I'm gonna stay with you, and this is from a goalkeeping perspective. Degodalo made that mistake with that horrible pass that was trying to, I think, was trying to pass to Varane or something, and it went to the launch player. But Onana was, I think, it was beyond his box 18 at that particular point in time.
Mhm.
And I've seen sweeper goalkeepers, the best in the history that I've seen personally will have to be Manuel Neuer. And you don't see Neuer being that eccentric. And I can see the reason why the coaches at Cameroon like this guy is crazy. He can't be a goalkeeper. This is a crazy human being. He can't be a goalkeeper. Why is he playing like this? If you want to be an outfield player, please be an outfield player. If you want to be a goalkeeper, please be a less eccentric sweeper goalkeeper. We see them. We see Allison in the Premier League. Aaron Ramsdale does the same thing. Ederson does the same thing. And they do it with a little bit of less, they are less rational. Oh, sorry, irrational. This guy, to me, I don't know, it's too daring. He's a daredevil. Do you think at this particular point in time there should be a little bit of decorum to the way he pushes out, to the way he plays as the super goalkeeper, or we should keep hold of this? He has done gloriously well for himself. Otherwise, he would not earn this big money move to Manchester United. We should just get used to it. Shay,
Yeah, Debo, you know what?
yeah.
Old Trafford has actually seen it all. I think the list of eccentric goalkeepers can go on and on.
You
Very
can
nice.
say that again.
I know Kachi understand where I'm going already. We've seen Bates.
Exactly.
We've seen the
Exactly.
likes of Roy Carroll.
Mhm.
I think we just have to be very careful. Onana, if forced to change his style, might now become, it might
Irregular goal.
just become the Onana that we don't really want.
Wow.
The goal he conceded, I bet to differ in my opinion as regards that goal. I think Onana prefers to play with defenders that knows what they are doing. They can
Exactly.
hold the ball, they can pass the ball very well. And to be candid, kudos to the Lens striker that actually took that goal. That was a fantastic goal. Perfect lob from the center pass. It's not everybody that can score that kind of goal. At that point, there was no need for Dalot to lose possession at that point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so many keepers will actually be outside their box at that time. Because if you look at the position of all the players, the Man U players, even the last man right, was almost in the half of the
Yeah,
opponent. So a lot of keepers will be outside the box 18 at that point from a goalkeeping perspective,
perspective.
like you said. But it was a perfect lob, and that's what happened. However, that is like a beacon light. That is like that sends a message to Onana himself that
Mhm.
there is a possibility that opponents will capitalize on this. They
Exactly.
know that they will see that as a weakness from his point of view.
This game.
And
Yeah.
whenever they steal the ball from the midfield or close, they want to look up and try what the young man from Lens tried. So I think it's something personally you should look at. However, I think it's just this type of play. There is hardly what we can do about it.
That guy is
It
gonna make you.
can,
He's going to make
I
you
think it
shite
can
your
be
pants.
cautioned, but don't forget that it was ETH's keeper in Ajax,
Mhm.
and I don't
Yeah,
think it won. So I think this matter that is between ETH, the
ETH.
coach that brought the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper thinking that, okay, let me even win the fans before I start all this my eccentric
Yeah. Yeah.
attitude. So the ball is in his court, but I still think Onana is going to come good for Man U. I'm very
Definitely.
confident.
I think you will. I think you will as well. Kachi, I think Onana will come good.
Uh,
But I think at the same time, I think he has to be a little bit careful. He's not the best goalkeeper in the world. Ederson, like I said, Alisson, like I said, they are better goalkeepers. There has to be a little bit of decorum, if you ask me.
Better shot stoppers, maybe yes, but let's not forget that Guardiola himself came out to say they had to change their pressing plans simply because of the cerebral tendencies of Onana. He knew how to place ball to feet and beat the press. So to echo Shei's point, what needs to happen is uh, there has to now be a telepathic understanding between Onana and at
And
least the two central back players if they go with a back four, or whoever would be the central defense or the three defensive players if ETH goes with his tested and trusted back three. That hasn't happened yet. The preseason is too short a time for that understanding to come. It will take, to really be very honest, it will probably take the length of a season for us to begin to see that understanding. However, his ability is not in doubt. It is difficult to to chain down an ego when the all the ego knows how to do is to soar high. Trying to change Onana now um, would would be more detrimental than beneficial. I think dealing with his eccentricity, knowing that you are likely to concede 5 goals from mistakes like that, but also knowing that you may get 15 goals from him being able to beat the press, is a risk ETH must be willing to take. And I think it's a risk I would encourage ETH to take as well. You don't have to be a very good shot stopper if you can be a good goalkeeper sweeper. What we are praising Manuel Neuer for is what we are currently blaming Onana for, which is the
no,
fact that yes,
no, no.
which is yes, I think so. I totally believe that. The only difference is Onana goes further up the pitch than Manuel Neuer does. That is the only difference. So ETH can now, this can be the learning phase where it tells him, rather than be on the 30-yard line, why not just be in front of your arc of your defense? Just be by the in front of that arc on the 18-yard line, and let that be where you start your sweeper roll from. It might just be a tiny tweak they need to do, not a wholesome tweak. But I
Exactly.
think they should let an eagle fly. It is a risk
Exactly.
ETH knew before he went into that deal. It is
Exactly.
a risk
Exactly.
everybody should be willing to
Exactly.
bear.
I think that's where I'm coming from as well. I'm not saying he should stop being the sweeper goalkeeper. I'm just saying it needs to be less eccentric with the way he plays. This is the Premier League. Premier League is different from
They will show
Holland
you. They will show you up in the Premier League
yeah,
without
or
a doubt.
Italian league. Luckily for him, we don't have guys like Rooney again and Xabi Alonso that can.
Di
That's their own
Canio,
specialty.
Paulo Di Canio,
Or
who can
Paulo
do
Di
that to
Canio,
you.
who can do that to you and punish you. Anyways, Sheyi still staying in the game between Manchester United and Lens. Mason Mount actually missed an empty net. That was a miscue. Most people will pardon him, including myself. But because I'm skeptical about his ability as a footballer, I'm going to be less I'm going to be less stringent or strict with him. I'm going to be strict with him. Like, yo, I know your ability as a footballer is in doubt already. You should not showcase this kind of silly mistakes to us. You've been brought into this team to fit into the Fred role or the Eriksen's role. The Eriksen role is very cerebral. Fred role is very energetic. And he lacks, and I'm sorry to say this, Mason Mount lacks that level of intelligence that we'll see from Eriksen, but he has that energy from Fred. But we need a match of both worlds. We don't want you to be energetic. If we want energy, we'll keep Fred. We know Fred does not have so much common sense. We'll keep him. We don't need you. I don't want to pay 65 million pounds or 55 million pounds for you to come and do something that Fred will do for us. It doesn't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? So I feel he needs to he needs to up his game basically. I don't know if you have a difference of opinion, but for me, he needs to up his game. He needs to show that intent to be that player that some people actually think he could be. I don't think he can be that player, but some people actually thinks he could be that. They think he could be that player. That's why they spend so much money on him. Shay.
Yeah, I think Mason Mount. Oh, let me even start with. I'm actually I wasn't happy with the signing in the first place, because I agree with you that he's footballing uh,
IQ.
sense and IQ might not be up there. Looking at what ETH wants him to do, you want him to replace an Ericsson because Ericsson has lost probably half of his legs at the moment. The pace is not there. He's not so energetic. He can't track back as much as the younger guys. But of course, you can see his passes, his vision, and the way he controls the midfield. You cannot get that from Mount at the moment. If we still think that Mount will can go on to improve his game, we can't get that from Mount right now. But of course, we can get the energetic part of it. He can run back, he can track back, he can join on a counter. Um, However, I still think Mount is a new player. He just started playing with his new team for over a month. And we're talking about playing with a new set of players and probably a new system, because I don't think Chelsea played any system last season. Apologies to Chelsea fans, but I don't think they actually played any system last season. So it's just actually trying to fit into ETH's team and system, and probably playing with a new teammate. And preseason is also for teams to also play different systems and different players, even players that will eventually not play with you within,
Season.
During the league. You actually play with them just to get that,
That filler.
that is get back to the shape and all that. So for now, I don't think it will be early for us to start,
Ringing alarm
calling
bells.
everything on Mason Mount. However, I don't think he's that player with that big IQ in front, going forward. But in short, I think it's too early to really
So we should
really
really
criticize
give him
Mount.
time.
Just like I said last year also for Anthony, I think Anthony too is too early to criticize him. I
Anthony is not
think
Anthony is not a footballer, he's a ball juggler. He's not a footballer. Forget it. There's nothing you can tell me about Anthony.
I think
I
I
mean
think
I mean
I think
I
you should
mean
watch out for Anthony this
I
season.
mean I mean for giving players chances and whatnot. And and you can tell with players like Jordan Sancho and the rest of it, the way I give them excuses. But if the day I gave up on Anthony against Arsenal, Anthony had a clear cut chance. And guess who outran Anthony? Thomas Partey. And that was the day I gave up on him.
Old
He
man,
can't he can't dribble. The only thing that he has is the wicked left shot.
he
That's all
does.
he has. That's all he
And
has.
I think he has the trickery, and by the time he's able
That's why I said he's a
to
ball
to
juggler.
get into his mode, when to make the decisions of when to go alone and when to square play, and
He
when to
cannot.
dribble and when to link up.
That boy cannot even dribble to start
I
with.
think Anthony is going to be a very dangerous player for Man
Okay,
U.
let's see. We'll do a preview
And
of the
he's
Premier
21
League.
years.
Anthony's 21 years old.
So
For
time
Yes,
on his side.
21, 22.
for Christ's sake, how can that guy be 21 years old?
Time
Yeah,
on his
Anthony is
side.
quite young.
Time on his side, Ebo.
So time,
Wow.
time, and
21
he's
years old. That boy is 21 years old.
yeah.
Brazilians are liars. I'm sorry to say that. That guy is not 21-year-old boy, man. That guy is 21. That's unbelievable, man. That's unbelievable. Really? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna give him a little bit of a chance now. One since you told me he's 21. I used to think I only like 24, 25. That is fully developed. So Daniel O'Clock is scoring goals for Liverpool right now. We don't know what the expectations are going to be. Chelsea are looking very good, and watch out for them. The combination of Jackson, Raheem Sterling, and Nkunku all front. I'm really looking forward to see how proficient they are going to be coming to the season, given that they are not going to be in Europe. There will be a whole lot of concentration for them, and Pochettino. Pochettino does not have, and I'm sorry to say this, doesn't have a specific system, but his teams are always very fit. He knows how to keep his teams very fit. I expect big things from Chelsea this season, as a matter of fact. Maybe not in terms of the league, like we saw Antonio Conte did a couple of years back. But I expect them to put up a big challenge to the guys. And of course, in transfer news, City are looking at Mitoma to replace Riyad Mahrez. Edison Alvarez has actually agreed personal terms with West Ham United, just looking to seal that over. Gakoro Ramos of Benfica as will be moving to PSG for a fee of 65 million pounds. All things being equal, Folarin Balogun is a guy that they're looking at from the Blues part of San Siro. While Mbappe mystery still goes on, we don't know how that is going to end, but I believe it's going to be at the Bernabeu one day. Maybe this season, maybe next, maybe in 2 years. I don't care. But that boy is going to end up at the Bernabeu. The last shout out is going to come from Kachi before we go on the show tonight.
Yes, thank you, Debo, for the opportunity. This is a sad one. Just wanted to remember um, my very good friend who tragically passed away at the sad age of 40, untimely. Kingsley Kesley Rebu, leaving behind a wife and three beautiful children, a quintessential man who loved sports. I'll probably say Manchester United, Nigerian Super Eagles, Super Falcons, and England in that order. This was a very painful one, but I chose to use today to remember him for being a perfect gentleman, a loving father, an amazing husband. May he continue to rest in peace. Thank you.
Hey man, thank you very much, Kachi. We're leaving the show on the sad one. So I'll see you next week, guys. Bye. I'm sad. So I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.